A lot happens to your body when you're pregnant, and it's kind of crazy how much changes when you can't even really tell you're pregnant. There's no baby bump, you can't see anything. You definitely start to feel pregnant long before you look like you're pregnant. So what are some of the symptoms that you're probably experiencing but no one really tells you about, and you might not even realize that they're related to your pregnancy? In this video, we're talking about the surprising changes that often catch first trimester moms off guard and what you can do about them. I'm Rachel, a mother of 8, and I'm here to share my real life experiences with you through my 8 pregnancies.
And my name is Heather Shelley, and I'm a mom of 4 and a family nurse practitioner and a licensed midwife and board certified lactation consultant. And I've been through this just like you, so we're going to share our experiences and what worked for us.
So we are from the Mighty Mama movement. We're doing educational videos to help you learn about pregnancy, how to have the best and healthiest pregnancy, and then moving on to birth and postpartum. We do have a free resource that is focused on our core content, which is how to have a low pain birth. And so if that interests you, there is a link in the bottom of underneath this video to take a free class called How to Give Birth with Practically No Pain. For this video, we're focusing on the first trimester and everything you need to know.
So everybody kind of knows about the basic things that happen: nausea, fatigue, feeling like you want to sleep all the time, going to the bathroom all the time as those hormones kick up. But let's talk about the things that people don't realize may happen to them when they are pregnant. One of the big things that happened to me is my sense of smell was crazy sensitive. I could smell someone's breath from across the room, which is not a pleasant thing when you have morning sickness. You could walk in and you'd walk into a room and you'd be like, what smells in this room? It was crazy. And everyone else would be like, I don't smell anything. And you're like, I smell it. I'm going to throw up. I don't like it.
That's where it's a bummer because it's connected to nausea. I worked in a building with a restaurant, and their food, when I wasn't pregnant, I thought it smelled fine. But when I was pregnant, it would make me gag. And so I had to hold my breath when I walked into the building and run to the elevator and then get up in the elevator. I could breathe, it was fine. And then at the elevator, I'd run into the office, and then I was mostly okay unless the ventilation system would bring it through. But it's hard.
Grocery stores were very hard. You couldn't go down the laundry aisle, the pet food, that sort of thing. You had to avoid it. Or like you said, I would be like, okay, I have to go down this aisle to get laundry soap or whatever it was. I had to hold my breath, zip my cart down, grab it off the shelf, and the fridge, like you don't realize your fridge smells.
Yeah.
Unless there's something rotting. But let's just say your average clean
Some
fridge.
onions in there.
I had to be like, okay, this is what I'm getting out of the fridge. I held my breath. I opened the fridge, and my fridge was clean, okay?
Right.
Opened the fridge with my breath held, grabbed as fast as I could what I wanted out, put it down, shut the door, ran out of the kitchen, far away from the fridge, and then I could breathe again. My whole pregnancy, that's what it was
the whole
like.
thing, that's too bad.
Yeah.
So moral of the story, if you're noticing this and you're kind of like, am I just imagining this? It's a real thing.
Yes.
All of these things don't necessarily happen to everybody. So if you're like, no, I'm not noticing that, that's totally fine. But if you are noticing it, it's normal. I don't think there's anything you can do about it though.
No.
Just cope with it, right?
Peppermint under your nose. That's
to overpower the other smells that you're smelling.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
But there's not much you can do. It's it's most likely a survival mechanism that you could smell things.
But hopefully it won't be your whole pregnancy like for Heather. For me, I only really mostly notice it during the morning sickness phase. Or maybe that's just because it made me sick during that phase, and afterward I was used to it. I don't know, but it wasn't a problem.
So another one that some people have are tastes change. Not just which foods we like and don't like, but you can taste metal easier, like that. You were like, why am I tasting metal in my mouth? That sort of thing. Did you ever have any of those?
Yes. Someone in our Facebook group just mentioned that the other day. She's like, I'm having like a blood taste or something. Is that normal? We're like, anything could be normal pretty much, it feels like.
Yeah. But those odd tastes happen, especially if you're deficient in certain minerals or certain supplements that you may take. You may be more sensitive to those metal tastes and stuff. So does it mean anything's wrong? No, it's just one of those odd things that we can taste easier.
And I think, for me, and I think this is pretty common, foods that I normally like, suddenly I don't really like. I know for me, I always, anything I was used to eating and I regularly ate, it just was so unappealing to me. I wanted always something new, because everything just felt like, oh, I'm sick of it. And I actually don't get sick of food very easily. I generally eat the same breakfast every day for years on end. I like to eat the same thing over and over, but I just can't when I'm pregnant because my taste is different, I guess.
Yeah. Another thing that happens is sleep. Your sleep is very disturbed. In the second trimester especially, having crazy dreams, not nightmares, but crazy dreams where you dream you're having puppies, you dream you're having kittens, like you just have crazy dreams that you're just like, why am I dreaming this? That's very normal.
So I know it's normal in the first trimester to be extra tired, like to be able to fall asleep super early or take naps really easily. But do some women also deal with insomnia? And does that mean they're not tired?
Usually around, I would say the 24 weeks.
Okay, so that's more after the first trimester.
Right. It can really kick in where you fall asleep okay once you go to the bathroom for the fourth time and get your pillows surrounded around you and everything. You finally fall asleep and then a sound wakes you up. Maybe someone in the house comes home late from work or the heater kicks on. I mean, it can be the most random thing. And you're like, it's usually around 2 or 3 a.m. And you're like, oh, good, I'm awake now for about 3 hours. Can't get back to sleep. And you just can't go back to sleep. Some people will read a book. That one can really help because books can kind of put you to sleep that way. Mm-hmm. Where reading your phone can actually have the opposite effect because of the blue light and how it can stimulate you. But some people will just lay there and say, hey, at least I'm relaxing. And some people will get up and get stuff done, depending on the personality and what happens. But what so many women tell me is, right before their alarm needs to go off, they finally get back to sleep.
That's when they're relaxing and falling asleep. Yeah.
So it's not that they can't fall asleep, it's they get woken up in the middle of the night. And that is a hormonal shift. It's a hormonal shift that happens, and there's not a whole lot you can do. You just have to find what works best for you and coping mechanisms.
So we wish we could give you how to solve every weird thing that happens to you during pregnancy, but unfortunately the answer for a lot of these things is cope with it, recognize that it is related to pregnancy and you're not going to be pregnant forever. And a lot of times it's only related to this part of your pregnancy, this phase of your pregnancy. That's the best case scenario because at least, maybe just 2 or 3 months you're going to be dealing with it. But right now we're just trying to help you have some awareness that, oh, this is related to my pregnancy. This is because of a hormonal change, or this is normal, so I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to kind of figure out how to best cope with it.
Exactly. And it doesn't usually last all of pregnancy. It's typically around that second trimester, the later part of that second trimester.
Okay. Can you talk to us about mood swings or increase in anxiety?
Yes. Mood swings, definitely normal. I'm sure that you've seen a lot of different memes and reels about the hormones and the mood swings, that you cry at commercials. You cry, your husband looks at you wrong and you're crying. You opened the door wrong and you're crying. Just everything. I think crying is the most common one. Sometimes anger might get in there, but I would say for the vast majority of women, it's mostly those mood swings of you're crying and now you're fine, and now you're crying and now you're fine.
Oh, okay.
And it's your hormones are going crazy. They're flip-flopping, and you're getting ready to be maternal.
Right.
Your body's preparing you.
And is that something that usually stabilizes as the pregnancy goes on, or does it oftentimes stick through the whole pregnancy?
You can have waves of it being more intense, but it's gonna happen the whole pregnancy, basically. Okay. Yeah. And it kind of even goes a little bit after.
Yeah, then you've got the postpartum phase, which is a whole different situation that we're not going there today. But yeah, that's okay. Another one that you may or may not experiencing. I've been pregnant 8 times, and I had this in 2 of my pregnancies, but it was so it had a big impact on the quality of my life, I think, of bloating and gas, where you just are always feeling like the tension and the tighten, like you want to have the gas come out, but it's kind of stuck there. It's really uncomfortable. I know, sorry, TMI, but this does happen frequently during pregnancy, and it's especially in the first part of pregnancy when you might be also dealing with morning sickness. So it really is, it can have an impact on your life. Is it okay to take over-the-counter gas relief medications? Should you go to your healthcare provider? Are there natural things? Right. What should people do for that?
A lot of it can be, remember we talked in past about your intestines, your digestion slowing down, that peristalsis. And so when we have food and waste products throughout our digestive tract, it can cause more gas and more bloating. So if we can get things moving, that can make a big difference. And that could be, for some women, they need more magnesium in their diet. Some women, green smoothies is a really good one that we talk about in the Mighty Mama movement. The green smoothie shakes, because it has all of that fiber and roughage, and it really helps the intestines, everything move through there. So when you have gas problems, kind of think to yourself, how have my bowel movements been? Have I been going to the bathroom, or is there a gas buildup happening? That can be one that, what did you, some of the things that you did?
Okay, so I did do over-the-counter gas relief drugs.
And you can.
And it helped, was wonderful. I'm not sure. See, I don't think I was a really proactive person. Right. I was just sort of like,
if we'd
I'm
only
pregnant,
now,
I'm going to have to get through this.
Right.
But I did get to points where I was like, I think I remember my mom telling me, she's like, they're safe to take me, they're pregnant, which I don't know for sure if they are. Right. I'm pretty sure it said, I looked on the box. I don't know. You better check. Don't take my word for it. But I did do that for the relief, because that's something I never had dealt with outside of the pregnancy. So I was like, oh, how do I get through this? I do also, at this point in my life, like to use Dr. Christopher's lower bowel formula for regularity. That really helps me. Do you know if that's safe during pregnancy?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And I have moms take that, or something similar to his. There's a bunch of different products. I just tell them to look at the ingredients and find something very similar if they don't have Dr. Christopher's in their area.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of those lower bowel that just because it's not causing loose bowel movements, it's helping the peristalsis.
Yeah, right.
So
it just
not
helps
addicting.
Things move through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, headaches and lightheadedness. How?
Yes. So a lot of times in early pregnancy, for many women, their blood pressure will actually lower a bit, and that can cause lightheadedness because they're having a lower blood pressure. And then the hormones, those crazy hormone shifts that we were talking about, it's common especially in the first trimester, but through everyone, but the first trimester a lot, to get headaches. And the headaches should never be excruciating headaches, ones that last for days. But you'll have someone who doesn't regularly get headaches at all, and they're like, why am I getting these headaches? And it's hard because there's not really any safe pain medication you can take. You shouldn't be taking Advil. You really shouldn't be taking Tylenol. What do you take? And the big things are, make sure it's not related to dehydration from morning sickness. Make sure that your electrolytes are up. Remember, dehydration isn't just about water, it's about electrolytes as well. And make sure that's not part of it. Make sure it's not low blood sugar. And sometimes it's just hormones and you've got to take a nap, do that. Some suggestions that can help, because there are multiple types of headaches, but some suggestions are take heat, put your hands and your feet in hot water, not too hot, of course, but hot water, and then put a cold washcloth behind your neck and on your forehead, and that can pull the blood to your hands and your feet and away from your head. So some people, that works for them. And you just have to try different things, because as much as possible, you don't want to take medications that can deplete glutathione and stuff in your system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my situation. I have never had a migraine in my life until my first pregnancy, and I've never had a migraine outside of pregnancy, but I do get them several times during the first few months of my pregnancy, which was really shocking and not pleasant to find out during my first pregnancy. I ended up in the ER a couple of times because of that, just because of it makes you throw up, and then you get more dehydrated, and then doing more, and just this downward spiral. I couldn't get on top of it. But the hope I'll give you, beyond trying as the natural remedies for headaches, and maybe we can do a whole video about all the natural remedies that you can try for headaches, because there are quite a few. Is there's hope. It might, if you're like me, it really is only during the first half of my pregnancy. Before then, I don't get any more migraines.
So some other things that can happen to the pregnant body because of all these changes that are taking place is your center of balance can be a little bit off. So if you, let's say you're a gymnast, for instance, but you're used to doing handstands maybe, or roller skating, be careful because your center of balance is going to be off. And as that baby grows and as the uterus shifts, so does how you're used to balancing yourself. So skiing would be one. Be very careful with activities that can throw it off. And you can damage your body easier. You know how there's the no pain, no gain? I tell moms that doesn't apply in pregnancy because our limbs become loosey-goosey. So you can sprain your ankle a little easier just because of your balance being off, but also because of your joints being looser to prepare for birth. So be careful with physical activity. You can still run if you've been doing it and do all those things, but be careful with that. Another thing is there's something called on your belly, between your belly and your pubic bone, called the linea nigra, or it's the dark line. Your areolas will get darker. You'll get this line below your belly button, and you can even get a melasma on your face, which is a darkening tone. And that is very normal. It will typically go away after pregnancy. And the darker your skin tone started out, the more intense that darkness is going to be. So for me, I never got much of a linea nigra just because of just my skin tone, where I had friends that they actually were just as fair as I was, but they got it. And so not everyone will get it, but it's very, very normal. You may get a new mole in pregnancy. You may have more acne. So if you're concerned, go to your doctor, go to a dermatologist and get those things checked out. But those things are going to happen. Another really odd one is your prescription will change. So
for your glasses?
For your glasses, because of the shape of your eye. It changes with pregnancy. And so unless you have the money to spend a lot on a new prescription, they say don't change your prescription, because when you're not pregnant, your eyes will go back to your old prescription. And so if you're not crazy, if you feel like my prescriptions, now it shouldn't be anything where you wake up one morning and you can't see. That can be a warning.
You just kind of like, I just feel like I'm not seeing as well as usual, or
Exactly. Do I need to go get a new prescription? It's normal and it will go back.
Okay.
So they say don't go get a new prescription, and that's because of money. Like I said,
just
if you can
not
afford
get it for a few months,
then do it. But yeah, that is normal. You're not going crazy. As long as it's not an extreme overnight change, it's normal.
Okay. Another thing that might throw you off, especially if you're still early on in your pregnancy. So the deal with the first trimester is that you feel like you're pregnant because you're having all these changes, but you don't feel a baby inside of you. You don't feel the baby kicking, and especially if it's your first pregnancy, you're not even really showing much. And so it's kind of odd to have all these different things happening to your body, but nobody even knows you're pregnant unless you tell them, Another thing that can happen is unusual cramping. So like, I don't normally get Charlie horses, but I only do when I'm pregnant. Round ligament pain is something that threw me off a lot. It's kind of a sharp pain in your lower abdomen, but it's so sharp and very noticeable that it's worrisome. It doesn't feel like a little stretching or a little like, oh, I'm a little sore. It's like, whoa, that really hurts. Is it concerning?
Usually it's not, as long as it's like with a body movement, you twisted. Like sometimes, I don't know how I did this, I'd forget I was pregnant and then I would turn quickly and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. And the reason you feel those is as the uterus grows, the uterus only feels pain. It doesn't feel cold. It doesn't feel tickles. It doesn't feel heat. It feels pain. And so
how convenient.
I know, isn't that so nice? And so when we have our period, the cramping, we feel that. As the uterus grows, it feels like cramps. Everything feels like cramps. And the round ligaments, we have two ligaments that attach from the front of the uterus to our pubic bone, and then two ligaments from the back of the uterus that attach to our sacrum. And so as the uterus starts to grow and as we turn and twist, especially, it can pull our pelvis off. And that's where chiropractors can really come in handy. But when we jerk, it can kind of pull that ligament and we're like, ooh. So but it should never be like, this has been hurting for hours on
Right.
on the
It's
left or
a
the right side.
one-off, like,
Right. Because that could be a warning sign of like an ectopic pregnancy or some other complication. So if that is more than just oh, yep, I felt that because I turned weird, if it's growing or anything, then get that taken care of. But pregnancy has so many weird things.
Yeah.
You know.
So I don't know, this one isn't really weird if you think about it, but it's just something you might not have thought about, is an increase in vaginal discharge.
Right.
You might have thought you were going to get a break because you're not having a period for a few months, but actually you're going to have more discharge as your body is keeping itself clean.
Yes.
And healthy.
And the vagina is very interesting because it will flush itself to cleanse itself. And now there's a baby in there, so it really wants to protect it. So you can get a lot of discharge that you didn't have before. And it's pretty normal to have that happen. And a panty liner is kind of what you would have there. But you shouldn't have constant leaking, of course. Nothing where you have to wear a pad or, any warning signs like that. But just that cleaning. Another thing that can happen is the cervix and the uterus become very, very vascular because all of that blood is now going to the baby and placenta and the uterus and everything. And so some women after having sex will spot just a little tiny bit on the toilet paper or something like that. And one of the first questions when we have a mom that's like, oh, I had some spotting, not a big amount, just toilet paper or something like that, we'll say, have you had sex in the last 24 hours? And a lot of times they'll say, yeah. And we're like, you just have a very tender cervix.
Oh, okay.
So it's nothing to worry about if it's that very small amount.
Very light.
Very light. It shouldn't last long at all. And do you have to stop having intimate relations? No. It's just you.
Right. And if you do feel concerned about it, you can always reach out to your healthcare provider. Another one so sometimes things will happen to you during pregnancy and you're just kind of dealing with it. And then you think, oh, could this be because I'm pregnant? There can oftentimes be an increase of congestion. I know one of my pregnancies, I had kind of like a clogged ear for months on end. And I didn't relate it to my pregnancy. I was doing research and trying to see like, what could this be? What's my problem? But as soon as I gave birth, it just stopped. That was really annoying, but gratefully it was just because of my pregnancy and the increased congestion, and it kind of got clogged up in my ear.
And that brings up a really good point too, is so many things that would set us off before are not now. For instance, and this is kind of a food one, but lactose intolerance, asthma. So you may have someone that had severe asthma and now they're pregnant and their asthma is controllable. They're like, what is going on? I have a sister that every time she gets pregnant, her asthma is totally fine. Not a problem at all. For me, I was very lactose intolerant before having my first baby. And after I had my first baby, I was fine. I mean, I still, like, milk itself was a little troubling, but before I had him, it was very troubling. And
so after pregnancy, it also stuck, that it wasn't as big of a problem for you?
It wasn't as big of a problem. Oh. And that same sister used to, have to take regular inhaler medications on a consistent basis. And after I think her second child, she only needs an inhaler in extreme circumstances now.
Oh, wow.
Her.
Pregnancy saved the day.
Yeah.
My acne cleared up after. I never had dealt with acne again after my first pregnancy. Yeah. That's the only difference. My sister has an autoimmune disorder. When she's pregnant, it doesn't bother her, but only when she's pregnant. And she has the baby and it starts bothering her again. But at least she got a little break.
It's really
with some other things she had to deal with, but
right.
A little break here and there.
There's multiple theories on that. And one of them that's very interesting is our babies send us stem cells. And because we are their host, right? They want to survive. We need to survive for them to survive. And the stem cells they send out, they're finding that it helps to repair certain things that can go wrong.
Okay.
And so, and that's why they can find fetal cells in our brains. So we carry a little bit of our children with us in our brains for our whole lives. And that's one of the theories, is that those stem cells that those babies send out can help heal us.
Can be healing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we've mentioned that sometimes you don't realize that whatever you're experiencing is pregnancy related or not. So what are some things that you can do to kind of, you don't necessarily need to know that it's pregnancy related or not, but just to kind of, this is something new I'm dealing with, and how should you approach that and figure out, like, is this concerning or what's the best way to handle it?
Right. So if it's something that seems like it's getting more intense, it's getting longer, I would definitely seek professional help and make sure that there's not an issue happening that could turn into a real problem. But if it's something that, like a headache, for instance, you're not used to headaches and now you're getting headaches and then they're going away and they're coming back. Track and see if it's something that you're eating. Is it on the days that you throw up more? Is it on the days that you don't get as much sleep? Is there anything triggering this pregnancy that wasn't triggering before you were pregnant that may be causing this to happen? And kind of journaling that. I tell people, phones are great now. We can do a lot on our phones. Or if you're more of a paper person, put it on the fridge. And every time that happens, say, okay, what did I eat? Or what did I do beforehand? Or, what was happening, to see if there's a pattern that has changed in your body.
Mm-hmm. So you might notice after you've journaled for a couple of weeks, you go back and look and see, every day I got a headache. I had been out and about a lot and I wasn't drinking as much, for example. Right. Maybe I'm getting dehydrated and then that's triggering a headache.
Because it used to be you could drink, 32 ounces of water a day and you were fine. Mm-hmm. And now that you're pregnant, you have to double that. Mm-hmm. And because your body changes. I like to say that there are 3 species of humans. There are males, females, and pregnant females. Because in pregnancy just changes everything. Our blood work changes, our body changes, our psychology changes, everything changes with it. And so we need to realize that we're not the same as before when we were not pregnant.
Right. So I hope this video has helped you become aware that some things you're experiencing are indeed related to pregnancy. Feel free to share this with your partner or people in your family who might have been wondering what's going on with you and also not realize, oh, it could be because she's pregnant. And just, we hope this gave you some validation that what you're going through is normal and it's okay, and encouragement that you will get through it. Be sure to watch our next video where we'll talk about exercise in pregnancy. It's something that a lot of women are wondering, what can I safely do? What changes do I need to make? And how do I stay in optimal health throughout my pregnancy? That can have a really big impact on how your birth goes and your labor. That's something we talk about a lot in the practically pain-free method. So be sure to watch that video because it's going to help you a lot.